Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Ted Hong. I represent S.P.A.C.E. With me this morning is Sue Leloy, who's a planner in my office, and also Graham Ellis, the head of S.P.A.C.E. What I'd like, well, in beginning this morning, I wanted to paraphrase a lyric from the John Lennon song, Watching the Wheels, that there are no problems, only solutions. We're here this morning to ask the Planning Commission to help my client work on solutions to the problems identified by the planning director so that they can continue their mission of educating students and supporting the community. This morning, with the chair's permission, I'd like to make a brief statement, then have Ms. Leloy talk about the progress that we're making on submitting an amended special permit application, and then have Mr. Ellis make a statement, followed by members of the community. I'd like to begin with an overview. On the far board to your left, there's several different entities involved. So what I tried to do is highlight who is what and what particular role they play. So you see that there is the Village Green Society. They actually own the property. They created a land trust under the Belly Acres Land Trust, who is the lessor, who leased it to Hawaii Volcano Circus, who is the lessee, who conducts or has space, kind of a charter school, operate at the site, which is governed by a local school board. First, let me recognize the patience and cooperation of the planning director and the planning department. We recognize and appreciate her efforts to help my client or guide my client into compliance with the laws. We were hired in August of 2011 because Graham realized basically he was kind of in over his head and needed help in terms of bringing this project into compliance. We are here this morning because of a misunderstanding, and I apologize that this misunderstanding has got to this point. The anniversary party on February 24th and 25th, 2012 was a private party, no different than a baby luau, to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the founding of the Village Green Society. It was a private party open only to Village Green Society members, their families, neighbors, and special guests. Donations.
Please. We don't do that here. Thank you. Continue.
Thank you. Donations were welcome but not required, typical of any nonprofit organization. The Village Green Society called our office to determine whether the anniversary party would violate any of the terms and conditions set by the planning department. We asked questions about the event. Who would be invited? Was it open to the public? Was admission going to be charged? What the purpose of the event was. We reviewed the terms and conditions set by the planning department, and the question we asked ourselves was, does a landowner have the right to hold a private function on their own property? And obviously the answer is yes. Whether it's a dinner party, a Super Bowl party, baby luau, or a funeral wake, Village Green Society, as a landowner, like any of us, are entitled to hold a private function on our property. And we told the Village Green Society it was okay to proceed with the function. When the planning department told us that tickets were being sold to the general public, my office immediately called S.P.A.C.E., the phone number at S.P.A.C.E. Sue Leloy from my office asked the woman who answered the phone some questions about tickets and the event being open to the public. The woman who answered the phone was not a Village Green Society representative. She did not know anything about the event other than her own assumptions, and she did offer tickets for sale to the general public. At that point, Ms. Leloy identified who she was and what office she was from, and that what she was doing, what she was representing, was unacceptable and a violation of the special permit terms, and told her to stop it. The unidentified woman admitted she didn't know what was going on. She said she wasn't going to talk to Sue anymore and hung up. We called Graham and Jenna, and they were also dismayed that the wrong information was going out and reassured us of the event. We contacted the planning department and told them what we had found. Graham signed a declaration under penalty of perjury, which is attached in Exhibit 16 to the Planning Department's exhibits, regarding this misunderstanding and what the factual circumstances were. I would note, Jeff talked to you about this being posted up on Facebook. Graham assures me that in terms of he did post it on his Facebook page. That was only for his friends with respect to members of who are the Village Green Society and other special guests. Based on what my client told me in February of 2012, we advised our client it was still within their right to proceed with the anniversary party as we understood it. If there is anyone to blame for allowing the event to have occurred, it was my office, and I apologize for the misunderstanding. Our analysis involved a private landowner holding a private party on their property. It is my hope that the Planning Commission does not penalize my client for our advice. Let me highlight some other misunderstandings brought up this morning. They talk about public performances as not being educational opportunities, but S.P.A.C.E is a performing arts learning center. Their educational opportunity is to do performances. That's what they're trained to do: lighting, sound, performances, costuming, everything else. So it's like being in a band, because I was in a band, the high school band. It's like rehearsing, but then you don't have a concert, a spring concert. So the public performances that were going on, that I think some of the source of the misunderstanding is that they're being trained to put on, the students are being trained to put on these performances. They do the performances, and yet these performances are misunderstood as violating the terms and conditions. The other misunderstanding that came up was the Le Chic 4 that morphed into some kind of Latin-themed kind of event that did not occur on S.P.A.C.E property, or the area of S.P.A.C.E on which S.P.A.C.E is located. That was at Kalani Honua, so that's another misunderstanding. The third misunderstanding I wanted to highlight was the farmers markets. After the letter we received from the planning department, it said that we could not do anything that was not originally permitted. What we took away from that was the farmers market was part of that original permitting, so we said that the farmers market should be able to continue. My client was very distressed and concerned that S.P.A.C.E would actually have to shut down operations, including the school. And so we discussed that very thoroughly with our client. This meeting allows the Planning Commission to find a solution for the community, my client, and the Planning Department arising from these continuing problems and misunderstandings. In our written material, we respectfully ask the Planning Commission as a short-term solution to allow us to amend the special permit when we present our formal amended special permit application. This morning you'll hear from Sue Leloy, who will talk about the progress that we've made since August to bring S.P.A.C.E into compliance with the general terms and conditions, and also in terms of the amending our special permit. You'll hear from Graham Ellis and obviously a number of interested members of the community. I want to point out that their testimony may be passionate at times, but forgive us if we are passionate in our testimony about the school, because the possibility that this unique and cutting-edge performing arts school could be shut down is so devastating that their enthusiasm might be strong. We're not blaming anybody for this situation. This is a misunderstanding. We're sorry for this misunderstanding. We hope we can continue to work with the planning director and move to amend our special permit application in the next few months. And we hope that you work with us on the solution and not let this problem overshadow what the school does, what it means to the students, faculty, staff, and community.